Right, hello friends, hello, and welcome to the four. Where is the two? Ordinarily we've tended to get a lot of guests where we think about the audience first, where we're like, okay, let's think of what's going to excite the audience the most in the universe, and then there are guests where we are like, screw the audience. This is somebody who we've been dying to
This is
chat with
us.
forever,
And
absolutely
then you
forever.
find out that the audience is just as excited.
Yes. So can we, with many OPs, welcome onto our respective screens, Mr. John Dykes.
Woo! Mr. John Dykes.
Well, hello. I'll take the mister all day long. First things first, guys. But great to be with you. And to you youngins out there, thanks for taking a gamble on me.
So basically, I have to tell you the story of how this interview with John has happened. So many years ago, and I say many for each decade ago that it was. I sent in a question to John on Football Focus, and I can't remember what the question was, but the thing is, it wasn't taken on the show. So at that time, I resolved that one day I will have my own show and get John on for an hour to ask him all the questions that I want.
Hey, it must
So
have
we
been a
have
pretty
John.
shitty. It must have been a pretty shitty question, Azim, because we took everything. You know, we didn't get a whole lot. But there you go. We're here now. Let's move on from that. Look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now.
There you go.
That's right. John, one of the first things we should just sort of put into context is how is it that you became a legend, an icon, a face in India? The reason I ask this is because, we were sort of having a conversation and it was pretty surprising to see that a lot of your broadcasts weren't happening from India.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
just, so
None of them.
how
Okay.
did it happen? What was the confusion? What
Okay.
were the deals that made it happen?
Well, okay. So what happened was when I first started working in television, I was living in Hong Kong, and at the time, the broadcaster Star Sports was based in Hong Kong. Okay. Now I started working with Star in Hong Kong in about 1995, and I was doing football commentaries. Then I moved into a different sports, and I launched a cricket show called Inside Cricket, which was like a weekly
Yes.
magazine show. So we came down here, and we had a whole raft of programming. And within a few years, we showed everything in the world. We had everything from all the major cricket, all the major football, all the major tennis, Grand Slams, the golf majors. We had Formula One, we had NBA, we had football, we had baseball, everything, right? And so what happened was, obviously, it didn't all get shown in Singapore, for example, because this was a regional broadcaster. But the biggest audience in many ways was India.
Yeah.
In many ways, India was the biggest audience. So as a result of that, I found myself, by and large, most of the stuff I presented went to India. And sometimes it went to other countries around Asia. In the Premier League's case, for example, when we kicked off with the
Yes.
Premier League in 2001, we went to, like 25 countries initially around Asia. So that was a huge thing for the
Wow.
first 3 years we had the Premier League. So it was fascinating. So I was this guy sitting in a studio in Singapore, by and large, broadcasting to India, and that was fascinating. And I had no real sense of the scale of this until I went out on shoots and trips, and occasionally I'd go and cover maybe like an Ashes tour, and I'd be in Perth at the start of an Ashes tour, and there'd be like an Indian guy coming up to me saying, "Oh, hey, I live here, but I watch Star," and I'm like, "Wow, okay." And I remember we sat on a plane once. We were I think we were flying to UK or somewhere like that, and we were flying, and my wife was pregnant at the time, and she wasn't very comfortable, and she said, "There's someone behind me who keeps kicking me in the back, and it's just not. It's just how sometimes people on the planes they just
Yeah.
kick you, and it's not comfortable." So she said, "Could you do something about it?" So I turned around, and I was just about to sort of launch into this thing, and I turned around, and I stuck my head between the seats, and this person went, "Oh my God, it's John Banks." And they were from Mumbai, and they were just like, "Oh, I can't believe, so in the end, we kind of gently dealt with the kicking thing, but mainly spoke about cricket for about an hour or something like that. So that's a long-winded way of saying, yeah, I was very visible in India.
And like for us, and we were discussing this yesterday when we just had that brief chat as well, that for us, like, that was the only news source. It was the newspaper, and it was Sports Center or Sportsline, and that's the only place you came to know about whatever is happening in the world of sports. And now if you contrast that today to like literally every, like, especially during the transfer window, like literally every 5 minutes you got a new tweet coming out with some new information. Like it almost feels like it's the same update, slightly modified, but posted 5 times every day, and everyone's just really
Yep.
excited about that.
No,
How do
no,
you
no,
feel
not
about
not
that
everyone. No,
evolution?
not everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
I'll
everyone.
take it. Lots of people are, but I'm not excited about that. Listen. I know where you're going with this. I have an issue with that. I've been tweeting about that recently. The problem I think evolved into this thing when you had this 24/7 rolling news, right? Which means that you've got this huge vacuum that just has to suck something in there, right? And as a result of that, what you've got is you've got people creating the news. If you think about it these days, you pick up tabloids, and I think you know which tabloid I'm talking about in particular. You pick up that tabloid on a Monday, right? The online edition. And 6 out of 10 stories are so-and-so said this on the TV yesterday. That's the news.
Yeah.
Pogba this or so-and-so that, they don't really believe this. They don't really believe this. They just got to go for it because then it perpetuates it. And then once it appears in the paper, then that gets picked up by other people. Sometimes someone like me, for example, might have figured out, oh, is this really a story? Okay, well, let's get into this and figure this out. And that's a self-perpetuating news cycle. And I'm kind of not entirely happy about that, because my attitude towards that is, and it's the same with this Fabrizio Romano stuff and everything like that. It's like, you don't have to have football crap coming into your head every second. You don't have to have that. Turn it off. Turn it off. Go and do something else. Go and do something constructive and say, listen, I'm in the industry and I don't give a shit whether this I don't give a shit whether this deal's been done or not. I really don't. I'm interested. Someone turns up at a football club. I'm like, okay, so they've got that guy now. Right. Well, is he or she going to impact that club positively? How does that? No. Okay. That's kind of interesting. I don't care whether the deal is nearly done and then it's kind of nearly done and whatever. It's not interesting. It's just. And the other thing about that I find cynical is that people are building a business out of it. Right. Yeah. Okay. I don't begrudge this guy or someone else for doing it, but it's like, really? Yeah, we're going to build something out of whether or not we can get somebody at that club to divulge that, after all, we are talking terms right now. So what?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for us as well, like there is that temptation to just like purely from a monetary standpoint, or even in terms of numbers and analytics and all of that, to just literally, stream every day. And the moment there's like a small update, immediately go live. And there's so many channels that are hugely successful that do that. But I think we've I think consciously, and also because we have other things to do. But we've always tried to be like once a week, or if there's something huge that's happening, maybe twice a week.
You need to realize this, guys. I think first of all, the younger generation of football fans, because of social media, have been far more critical. People are really abusive now. People are really disrespectful. This Fred thing. Listen, Neville, you made the joke about last time.
Guilty.
You were
guilty of
you were
Fred
both.
abuse,
You made, oh yeah, great. Okay, they're banned. So good news for United fans. Okay. At the time, you think, oh, that's quite a cute FPL line and joke on our United fan line. But actually, it's really disrespectful to a high quality international footballer. To be honest with you, he's had a couple of bad games lately, but what have you.
Do you think it's going to work out for Ronaldo at United in a footballing sense?
I don't see why not. Quite honestly, I've been working with Fox Sports for the last few years, and we've been a Serie A rights holder, and I watched quite a lot of Ronaldo, and his instinct to get in the right place to get on the end of things is gonna serve him well. So provided, I think the key to them is Sancho settling. If Sancho actually settles and delivers the kind of form that I know he can deliver, then I think he's going to tee up a lot for Ronaldo. I think with Bruno plays from a sort of more sort of vertical position, which means that what he's playing is passing. I like Ronaldo coming onto balls from wide areas. So if United are able to deliver that, then I think it'll work. Yeah, I think so.
I have a Chelsea question in that regard then. What happens to Werner? Does he with Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech? I mean, there's a host of talent there. But what happens with Werner? Does he get the left wing? And if he does, then what happens to Pulisic, or what happens to say a Mount, or what happens to whoever's playing in that left wing?
It's a good question, because I think the other thing that we have to remember is that Lukaku is very capable and very happy to pull off to the right-hand side and to run into those channels. So that might lead to a situation where nominally you play Lukaku and Werner, but Werner naturally goes left and Lukaku goes right, enabling somebody to make those runs into the middle. Now, it could be Havertz, it could be Pulisic. I think Mount will occupy a position in midfield in which he plays that link. I think that's what England missed at times in the Euros when they especially when they pushed him out to the left. So I think that can work. But I've liked Werner for a while. I love it when he breaks down the left hand side. But the quality of his finishing has just gone backwards. And it's really hard, I think, to continue to advance the argument that he should play all the time, because I love what he does in build-up. Tuchel loves him, for what he does. But even Tuchel must be thinking, man, come on, you've got to tuck some of these chances away. Let's say, for example, he's just able to just get over it. If he can just put a couple of simple tap-ins away rather than just scuffing it at the keeper or hitting the keeper or whatever, if he can do that and he suddenly starts scoring, I don't think he's ever going to score a ton of goals. That doesn't matter. But if he can just get a few and contribute, I think he can play. But you're right. Listen, it's a problem Chelsea have, and it's of their own making. They've just got so many players, in those positions, and they've had to move on some very good players lately. It'll work out, but I just think Lukaku is going to be immense for them. I think he's fantastic.